My name is Lauren Roth, and I'm one of your hosts for this evening, along with my husband David and our friends Cheryl and Brian Fox. We'd like to welcome you to Partners in Torah's 4th annual fundraising event. It's a pleasure to see so many of you here. We'd also like to give a special welcome to our keynote speaker, Mr. Michael Medved, and our Partners in Torah board members, Mr. Mendy Klein, Mr. Bill Heller, Mr. David Heller, and Dr. Louis Maltzmacher. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
Good job. Good job. Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm David Roth, one of your event chairs this evening and a member of the Partners in Torah board. I'm really glad that we were able to document the connection that Adam and Gavi have been able to create through Partners in Torah. I know in talking to Adam and to Gavi as well, that the program has had a very positive impact on their lives. And it's really amazing to see such a strong connection made between two individuals from very different backgrounds. And that's a big part of what Partners in Torah is all about. And Adam and Gavi are really just one example of the special relationships that have been made through this program. In addition to providing opportunities for meaningful Torah study, this program is a great opportunity to create meaningful relationships with a very diverse group of people. Our first guest speaker this evening is a representative of the Cleveland Jewish Federation. The Federation is a very strong supporter of Partners in Torah, and we are very lucky to be able to use their facilities on a weekly basis for our Tuesday night study hall. Here tonight, representing the Federation, is David Adler, the outgoing 2017 and 2018 campaign chair. Thank you so much for being here. David has graciously agreed to share a few words with us this evening. I know from personal experiences listening to him speak that he takes learning very seriously and always has something very meaningful to say that's often influenced by Torah study. So everybody, please welcome David Adler.
Thank you. So just to be clear, I am not the chair of the campaign anymore. So those of you who have been trying to avoid me, no need. But I do have this honor of bringing greetings from the Federation this evening. And the Federation is a very proud partner of Partners in Torah. It really is a natural relationship for us. Parsha Mishpatim, we read yesterday, it begins with these words, and these are the laws you are to set before them. The more we study those laws, the more we study Torah, the more we understand Torah, the more we make Torah part of our souls, the more we understand who we are as Jews, the more we understand our mission, our purpose, our obligations. And the more we understand these things, the more likely it is that we will put aside what divides us. Things like the politics here in the United States, the politics in Israel, and instead focus on what it is that unites us. And what that is our obligation to take care of each other here in Cleveland, in Israel, and around the world. And taking care of each other, that is what the Jewish Federation of Cleveland is all about. Through our work to leave no community member behind, to provide security, to support Israel, and to ensure a Jewish future. Rabbi Landis, thank you for all you are doing to promote Torah study here in Cleveland. We are a better community because of it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Always a pleasure to hear you speak, and thanks again for being here this evening. As many of you know, Partners in Torah is very near and dear to my heart, and I'm very excited to see so many people here to learn about this program. I've developed so many great relationships through this program, and one of those great relationships is with our education director, Rabbi Pinchas Landis. Over the years, our families have become very close, and he and I have become very good friends. We've shared many holiday dinners together and actually spent a lot of time this weekend together for his daughter Tessie's bat mitzvah. Mazel tov, Tessie. Rabbi Landis is an amazing guy, has an incredible passion for this program that's had such a positive impact on my life and a lot of other people's lives. So with that being said, everyone please welcome Rabbi Pinchas Landis.
David, don't leave the stage too quickly. And I actually want to call up Lauren and Cheryl and Brian Fox as well, our event chairs for this evening. For anyone who's ever been involved in planning any kind of event, especially a Jewish event and especially a fundraiser, you know that there is a lot that goes into it. So as an organization, we just want to show our hakaras hatov, our appreciation to these four individuals for not only agreeing to be our event chairs for this evening, but for really going above and beyond to help us to fill the room and to help us to make it really an amazing event.
Thank you.
So on behalf of the Board of Directors of Partners in Torah, we'd just like to thank you for your help and your service and help us to make Cleveland a better place. Thank you. So for those of you who know me personally, or are just used to hearing me run my mouth on a somewhat regular basis, you know that one of my passions, besides Torah learning, is to read books on business and leadership. I read recently the book of Sir Richard Branson, the CEO of the Virgin Brands, and his book on leadership called The Virgin Way. And in his book, he shares many great ideas about the many companies that he's formed, the person he's become, and all around just how to be a good leader. But one message he imparts to us in his book is that being a good leader, or part of being a good leader, is also having fun. And one thing that he takes very seriously is that every year he tries to put on a stellar April Fool's Day gag. Now, these usually go pretty well. Sometimes they go a little awry. He once had to spend a night in jail because of one of his gags, but for the most part, it's all fun and good, and everyone has a good laugh. 1986, after he had the success of his very first brand, the Virgin Record brand, he put out an article in a magazine called Music Week. The article was published on April 1st, and the article said how Virgin Atlantic was coming out with this new mini music box that would play every single song ever produced. Now in 1986, to put this message in Music Week magazine literally sent shockwaves throughout the music community. He was getting calls left and right from musicians, from producers. How could you do this? We have to sell records. You can't make one little box that plays every single song. But the way that he always operated is at 12 p.m. he would yell out April Fools, and everyone would realize it was just a joke. But there's one person who saw this joke and didn't take it as just a joke. 6 months later, he was at a party, and somebody by the name of Steve Jobs came up to him and said, "Richard, I really liked that gag this year. That was really funny." 15 years later, we had the iPod. What was it about Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs was a man, for those of you who might have read his book or seen the movie or just followed the story, yes, he might not have a reputation of being of the highest moral character. Yes, they tell the stories about how Apple employees were afraid to get in the elevator with him lest they lose their job before they get out. But one thing is clear. He made a huge dent in the universe. He revolutionized 6 different industries, and he made a huge difference. How did he do that? He did that because he insisted on doing things in an insanely great way. When he heard an idea, when he heard an April Fool's joke, it wasn't just an April Fool's joke, it was an idea of how to change the world, of how to change an industry, of how to do things different. One of my favorite authors is Jim Collins. And his monumental work, starts with a quote. His monumental work, Good to Great, he starts with a quote that good is the enemy of great. Well, if good is the enemy of great, then insanely great is the superstar over great. And that's what motivated Steve Jobs. making everything insanely great. Whether it was the iPod, whether it was the iPad, whether it was the Mac computer, whether it was Disney Pixar, whatever it was, good wasn't good enough. Great wasn't good enough. It had to be insanely great. And if there's one lesson that everybody sitting in this room can take tonight, it's that lesson of making things insanely great. We live in an awesome community. I would venture to say that Cleveland is one of the greatest Jewish communities on God's green earth. I couldn't resist, Michael. I'm sorry. We just heard from my dear friend David Adler, who just completed a $32 million federation campaign, I believe the largest per capita federation campaign in the country. We have the largest per capita day school attendance in the country. We have so many wonderful things. By all definitions, Cleveland is a great community. But if good is the enemy of great, then great is the enemy of insanely great. Imagine how insanely great Cleveland would be if every single one of the 80,000 Jews in Cleveland spent 1 hour a week studying Torah. Just imagine. Talk to the people in this room who participate. See the impact it's made on their lives. See what it's done for them. And then multiply that by 80,000. Imagine how insanely great Cleveland would be in that situation. So I want to challenge you here tonight. 400 people filled this room, not only to hear Mr. Medved, who we're all looking forward to, but to celebrate Partners in Torah. And I want to challenge you that if you're not already involved in Partners in Torah, help us to make Cleveland an insanely great community. I want everyone now to pull out their phones. Yes, this is the one part in the program where I don't mind if you have your phones out. And I want you to send an email to partners@torahcleveland.com. It's on the back of your program if you need it. Send an email. I want my phone to buzz 400 times right now. Send an email and say either, I'm already involved, or if you're not already involved, tell me how you're going to get involved in helping to make Cleveland an insanely great community. You have 3 options. Let's say you're a privileged person who's had a strong Torah education until this part in your life. You can be one of our mentors. We need you. Partners in Torah only works because we have amazing volunteers, many of you in this room who volunteer to be mentors. So if you have a strong Torah learning background, come be one of our mentors. And if you want to learn a little something, come be one of our mentees. Because by coming to learn a little something, yes, you benefit. Yes, you get a ton out of it. But you can't imagine how much you give to those mentors, and you can't imagine what it does to help making this community so insanely great. So we need you to be a mentor. We need you to be a mentee. And yes, this is also a fundraiser, so we need those donors as well. Because as much as I don't like to sleep at night, I don't know if I alone can get to all of the 80,000 Jews in Cleveland. If we're going to do it, the community has to grow. It has to expand. We have to add more staff. We have to make it happen. And we can only make it happen with the philanthropy of this community. So you have a choice, 4 choices. Either you're involved already, or you're going to become a mentor, or you're going to become a mentee, or you're going to become one of our donors. Because remember that if good is the enemy of great, then great is the enemy of insanely great. And I know that we all together can do our part to make Cleveland an insanely great community. I thank you so much all for coming tonight, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.